box at the back of the bottommost drawer in the darkest, most airless corner of the shade-drawn room. Her telling, told to no one but me, and that time only, as she pulled 2 blueberry muffins from the bakery bag and set them and a knife on the plate. A memory, over and not, like the song about the song that never ends. A girl, not here, not there, stopped in what becomes forever dead center and fuels the nights of her sleep. Had I known, I could have told her, no one dies from a jug of boiled water.
Thank you, Gloria. This is from the book Gloria published 4 years ago for me, Refuge in the Shadows. And some of you probably heard this poem, but you have to put up with it. I spent a lot of time this year taking care of my brother who was in an extended care facility and subsequently died over the summer of Parkinson's disease, so I've had a lot of experience in these places. And this particular place was in Florida, where Judy, my wife's mother, was there for years, and we used to go visit her in Florida. The poem is called Lowness. Lowness is what you notice first. A fleet of wheelchairs adrift below the waist of the horizon. Lost ships in a sea of dementia. The gray tile ceiling pressing down, down like pea soup fog. Zero visibility in a lost world. They are the derelicts washed up on unfamiliar shores, sea and stone-battered hull slats, once seaworthy, decayed to worm-eaten driftwood. They are the scrub beach pine, bent low against the wind, with nothing to break the howl. Gnarly, brittle branches, arms, legs, fingers, toes, rough-barked faces, blood sap at a trickle, feeble barriers against the winter of mortality. One keeps struggling to rise, like a horse with a fractured fetlock, with pure instinct to keep moving. The white coats push him back down, strapping, but lowness is not for him. He totters back up, a winning of protest, and you think, why not? So what if he falls? Let him die trying, but he still knows. Thank you.
Doug Calder.
So this one she did, Gloria did in 2007. I like to eat, and so I wrote poems about all the meals I had before. Here you could see Sherman's, which is no longer there. The Hong Kong, I had a great Chinese meal. This is seminars, all kinds of places.
I went around and took all the pictures.
Oh yeah, you did. Yeah. Anyway, many of you will remember the Worst House, which is a place I used to frequent. So this was the last night at, it's no longer there, last night at the Worst House. Okay. How I miss that hush from the square, the dark oasis contemplating my beer as things come to a head. The ancient waitress, their surliness and art, bark the orders to the swing of doors. And at the bar, scholars of the academy and everyday scholars of life share the same expanse of polished wood. I used to strain to hear the bits of wisdom old man Cardullo spit from his cigar-studded mouth, the rancorish jokes the cops told, huddled around him in an enigmatic cabal. And now in the same corner, pretty boys on posters smile, with hardened torsos, and I'm swept away to wherever the crowd goes.
Pamela,
7th month. November is when I'll deliver you, an envelope fat with promise, like the letters from my grandmother filled with news clippings, packs of juicy fruit, dollars for hair ribbons. Like packages from my mother, bulging with Texas pecans and boxes of lime jello. I feel you pushing against my waist, or where my waist used to be, in wide belts tight over swirling skirts or harem pants, when I swung to In the Mood, hustled to Pink Cadillac, swayed to a country waltz, could I have this dance for the rest of my life, which led to you ballooning below my breasts. So when I talk on the phone long distance to my former lover, who is glad for me, yes, my breath comes faster. It would anyway to hear her furry Louisiana drawl that still can brush my skin like the cotton sheet that's enough for sultry southern nights. I wasn't ready then. In my 40s, I'm easy as a ripe peach. My mother, sister, and I climb up on ladders and reach for peaches the size of baseballs, fill buckets and paper sacks. The fallen ones drip juice on baked Texas grass and the possessive purr of bees. Evenings, we peel the peaches, freshen the family gossip, put them up to freeze. All winter and spring, we'll serve peaches on pound cake, peaches on vanilla ice cream, peach pies and cobblers, sliced peaches for breakfast. Jam is too much trouble. It was too much trouble to have a baby in my teens, 20s, 30s. I had to make a living, find some ground to stand on. I said no, and then no slid into yes. And here you are, pressing up against my diaphragm, making me breathless as you metamorphose from a blue flutter of wings through weeks of silken swimming to something brown and wild, leaping from branch to branch.
Parents. So I'm going to read this one because I like to read this one. And it's called I've Been to Samarkand. And it's a poem about my father's story, but it's also a poem about a dream. And it'll take us someplace. So for my father. 2 years ago, May now, as you made yourself ready for death, I wanted to remain, relieve her of her duty, and be a good daughter. You sent me home to die with her alone. I have been to Samarkand the final time, a journey by water, the dream geography more full than life, the mosque, the church, the covered women singing, the stations of the cross, the goblin boat to take me back by morning. I travel by train north and walk to the park. It's hot and burning, to see the icons at the Met, to look into the eyes of each and every opalescent virgin. In the house of the Father, she guides the souls in comfort to Samara. Her eyes follow me. At home, I present you a gift, war traveler who prayed at every house of the Father. St. Sophia's in Kiev, the Friday Mosque of Tashkent, the Bukharian synagogue on Severnoye Street, the tomb of the prophet Daniel, where his stolen bones grow the stalks along the bloody way. In Iran, Iraq, in Syria, then Lebanon, in Egypt and Palestine, in Bethlehem at the Church of the Nativity, where the Ottoman Turks had made the doorways 4 feet high to keep the wild horsemen out, to Jerusalem, where they meet God as three, a trinity of one almighty city, to destroy the houses of the Father, a caravanserai on the journey backwards to Samara. You put messages in the wall, went to the Holy Sepulchre, and stumbled along the Via Dolorosa, saw the dome of the rock where Muhammad rode a winged stallion to heaven. Across the Mediterranean, in Monte Cassino, you protected the mountain, then the monastery, and in Rome lifted your face to the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel. Now hear the word of God as the pain goes through you like hot lead, as your bones move lengthwise into sleep upon the bed. I have brought you your last book in prescience and redemption, in secret and in silence. Open it alone, look. Study the compassionate face of Mary, the distant face of Christ, the icons we cannot escape, imprinted on us since baptism. I hear you pray, and I pray too, for your life that spanned the century. Let your light hold fast. Enter Hagia Sophia, the final house of the Father. Go then, backwards to Samara. Leave your shoes at the door. See Christ who never was removed before your destiny is achieved. Explore. Arise and go, Vladimir, for the kingdom of heaven is upon you.
Jefferson's new image salon, matchups and mashups. It's fun. But I'm not going to read from that. I'm going to read from the new one, Natural Histories. Can you hear me?
Yeah, man.
All right, man. Cool music and everything. So I really wanted to be born to an aristocratic family in the 19th century. Unfortunately, I was born to a blue-collar family in Buffalo in the middle of the 20th century. But nevertheless, I think of myself as a natural historian. And so these were all poems kind of written about sitting in my backyard and watching birds and insects and flowers, etc., etc., etc. And so there's a lot, and there's a lot about gardening. Now, the New York Times, so this is a sign of the decline of literacy. First of all, they got rid of the Sunday chess column. Then they got rid of the Tuesday morning chess column. I was ready to just get rid of my subscription. And then they used to have a gardening column as well. They got rid of that as well. So, Anyway, this is this poem called Cupid's Dart is a found poem. And it begins with an epigraph from the former gardening column in the New York Times. And so people would pose questions to the expert gardener in the Times. And the question was, I'd like to give my gardening girlfriend a bouquet of flower seeds that have in their names, that have flowers in their names for Valentine's Day. If this is possible, please suggest things to look for. Cupid's Dart. Slender Naiad, love and idleness, kiss me over the garden gate. Lady's maid, heart's delight, kiss me quick. Love in a mist, none so pretty, kiss me over the garden gate. Love in a puff, night sensation, kiss me quick. Sleeping beauty, Cupid's dart, love lies bleeding. Red hot poker, love lies bleeding. Small Allison, lad's love, forget me not. Sweet Nancy, eternal flame, love lies bleeding. Bouncing Bet, black-eyed Susan, busy Lizzie, forget me not. Fair maids of February, forget me not.
Thank you. So I have a chapbook called Across Stones of Bad Dreams with Gloria and Fire Tongue, which was published last year. This particular poem was published in a publication called Warriors Right, and it's a magazine for people who are veterans of the armed forces of the United States, not Russia. And they published this one. It's called Inside the Head, the War Rages On. Morning jumps up like a baby, and if you want to change the diaper of your life, the woman who has treated you like a prisoner of war, the children who hound you as if you are in Baskerville, while the dog you should be walking has done his thing in the corner of the living room. Depression comes in 4 flavors. You choose vanilla, which happens to be the scent of the candle she burned when you found her in your bed with someone from the Cargill Bar and Grill. You long for the peaceful days of war in the jungle, when in the heat you smell the enemy miles away, even when they melted into vines or rocks or hidden caves, and the odor of rotting corpses that defied the separation of warrior and civilian denied your senses. Thank you.
Hi. I'm going to read from the first thing that Gloria published of mine, a chapbook of poetry called Living Proof. And as you all know, her press began with chapbooks. And this is from one of the early ones, 2007. But the other two, the photograph on this cover and on Clear IT, were my own photographs. And I was really pleased at that. That really, those were the first, well, I think I had one photograph published before that, but it really meant a lot to me, and it sort of gave me a lot of confidence in taking photographs. So I want to thank you for that, and thank you, Bill. You do so much work. Unbelievable. The amount, I mean, you can see. And it is a March poem, when the weather was better than it's been these days in April. But it's called Afternoon at Nahant. Only March, and it's 85 degrees in Boston. Nahant on the North Shore beckons, the wide strand where all the simple joys arrange themselves, scatter about, among snail shells, stones, sand that sparkles. It's rare to know where you belong at any given moment, for doubt to take a vacation, when the air still has a chill, especially by the water, and the sun can't quite make up for it. Gloria's Sam and Noah and my Gianni chase each other, circles widening, nothing in the way, free to run, and who cares if they get wet? Children don't feel a cool breeze anyway, at least not such fortunate children. Mothers wait for days like this when they can honestly answer the question, where are we going? Give them an answer they can understand. We're going on an adventure. So we are spending the afternoon at Nahant. For this, we decided to relinquish our worries. We'll eat oranges instead of dinner and go home late to our husbands. We 5 race along the horizon of the water's edge, push away the thought of rush hour traffic on the Linway, stay until the sun goes down. Thank you.
Bill, so this is a prose poem memoir that Gloria published in 2010. I love the cover. I love the bright red and the picture of Saturn. The planets have a sort of leitmotif in this book, so quasars and Saturn and black holes appear from time to time amidst the prose, which is really prose poetry. And I also want to thank Mike Todd Steffen, who may not be here still, but he wrote just an exquisite review of this book that helped a lot. So the book is in 2 parts, and they are numbered and lettered paragraphs. So this is from the first part, and it's number 22. Convinced now my madness is of a particular kind, the over-articulation of consciousness, the paranoia of a witch. My madness lies in this fault. I determine to remember. I snag fishing lures to save the fish as souvenirs and symbol. I slip lures through my nipples, attaching them to my hair, stringing them at my throat and my wrists. Ornament me with the totems of cruelty. The fish of my fantasy will never be mastered or eaten. Death fueled you. It mystifies me. What did I first notice about your room? The cold and sky of Texas inside it, the fire between us then, necessary, fitting. I've never known the wonder of a derelict frontier like that neighborhood, never had a horse of my own like that beat-up bike, and never a sense of freedom like those midnight rides to your little house. The houses of Montrose are vividly pastel. Thunderstorms darken and break open the sky almost every day. The trees are huge, twisted, and pack their leaves against the air like snow. I was able to ignore the staccato lunging of American civilization there, of my own panic, the New York centrifuge. Strange, though, no matter how savage I'd become, I wanted a home. I was still vulnerable to being tamed. Is love always a taming, then teeth? Immediately I noticed the Polaroid snapshots of a middle-class family on your bookshelf, the same as mine, with half-inch white borders and glossy skins. The bubble of that nuclear family we'd been a product of and fled when it cracked. I saw a little girl who'd been Daddy's princess and what her death must have meant. Therese. Thank you.
I'll read tonight, and congratulations on 12 years. That's an amazing feat. And yeah, just super happy with everything, the way the book turned out. And it's been a pleasure knowing you and the community that exists around you. So the poem that I'm going to read tonight has actually originally appeared in Ibbotson Street. It's called A Nearly True Poem About Postcards from the MoMA She Never Knew She Wanted Before Today. One was a photo of itself. On the back it read, "Wish you were here." One was a painted brick worth its weight in postage. One was a flock of birds that spelled out her name when it flew overhead. One was a series of books, each with a single highlighted word she had to find to glean its meaning. One was a flower bed, just because. Together they applied for a NEA to support their correspondence, then wrote grant letters to each other that explained the need for art in their exchange. Eventually, the stacks of letters became the art the NEA supported. MoMA set her postcards on fire. The smoke rose into the clouds which made it rain. And when it reached her, she could feel the words in the drops on her skin. They plucked at her like a harp. Once MoMA sent her an EKG. The caption read, "This here, this peak right here is the exact moment when I thought of you." MoMA sometimes whispers her name into paper, so when she holds it to a candle, she believes the shadow, like knowing of heartbeats before the heart. Thank you.
So, before I just say a few closing words, I want to acknowledge some other presses because they work really hard. And first of all, Mark Pavlik with Hanging Loose Press. Stratton, Big Publishing. And William Hallway, Michael McInnes, Nick's Mates Review and Press. So really, thank you to all of you for putting so much work too into the community, into the presses, the books you publish, everything. And all of you here tonight, oh my God, I just can't thank you enough for celebrating with me, and I'm really, really grateful. So thank you, and eat and drink and have some fun now.